Hello and welcome to Experience Share. It's a Pokemon podcast starring me,
Who?
Titanitar.
Tyranitar?
Yeah.
Tanner. Is it Tanner's your name?
Titanitar,
Okay.
aka Tanner Greenring.
Tanner, that's right.
And I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Polyjosh 2, aka Joshua Fields.
Porygon 2. It's Porygon, so it should be Poryjosh.
Oh, is it
2?
Wait, is it? It's not Polygon in these games? It's
No.
Porygon, right?
I'm not Poly either.
Poryjosh.
My uncle, unclear,
2.
but I can tell you I'm not.
Okay. Have you ever tried?
I guess not.
So,
I guess it's poly ambiguous.
right. I wouldn't say you're not. I wouldn't say you are, but I wouldn't say you're not.
No.
It's an Experience Share. It's a Pokemon podcast. Each week we play through a new Pokemon game, gym by gym, week by week. We are in an interstitial season right now, playing through Pokemon Colosseum, and this is the final episode of Colosseum. I know we said we were going to do 4,
Yeah.
but turns out everyone hates the interstitial seasons.
Well, and you were on hiatus.
And I was on hiatus, so we had to do a couple of filler
And
episodes,
now
but
it's
I'm
like,
back.
We've been in season 3 and all of its iterations for...
Months.
I don't know, 6 months, it feels like.
Yeah.
We got to get out of here, man.
Were we in season 3 when the pandemic started?
Yeah.
Wow.
So maybe we'll get out of season 3 by the time the pandemic is ending. But we are only doing 3 episodes about Colosseum. So this is the last one. And we will talk about the post game, but we are not doing it.
We did. I did a little.
Okay.
I went and fought Kale.
Yeah, I know what it is, so we can talk about it, but fuck it.
Yeah.
You know?
Next week, we'll pick up with Pokemon Gale of Darkness XD, and we'll probably try to blaze through those pretty quickly, too, so we can get on to Season 4 and Pokemon Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah, if anyone is playing along with Gale of Darkness, we have cut that down to 3 episodes also. We were originally planning 5. We will, again, not be doing the post-game because we're trying to get everyone to Sinnoh.
Yeah, let's get to Sinnoh. Josh, after a brief hiatus, after a couple weeks off, we are back in Or. Yeah.
Yeah.
To catch some Shadow Pokemon and to defeat some anime boys and to, I don't know.
Liberate this land from all of these competing criminal syndicates.
Yeah, there's a lot of criminal syndicates, and they start like getting pretty chummy.
Yeah, that's what we discovered this week.
So we beat it. We beat the game.
We did.
But before we get into that, Joshua, let's start at the beginning,
Where were we?
which is where we left off last week. And by last week, I mean close to a month ago now.
Yeah.
Where did we leave off?
I had to do a refresher where we were. We were still in the Under. We had just gotten off the subway. We'd tried to capture Lady Venus. She escaped, but her peons conveniently dropped the main gate key, which leads to the Shadow Pokémon Lab that they had all been brazenly bragging about.
We found it, and we went there, and it's a little bit complicated. You go in the main building, and there's nothing there, and then you go in a side building, and you have to, like, find the key card scanner that will open the door, and you kind of end up going back and forth between these two buildings a lot on a lot of little, like, errands.
It's very, like, Team Rocket-y.
Well, it's very, like, Umbrella Corp-y. Like, it's all underground. There's, like, sub-levels on sub-levels. Like,
Oh, yeah.
there's a ton of stuff going on in this little lab, but you eventually find your way deep underground, and there's all sorts of labs and equipment set up. And it turns out that this is the place that Ein, from the titular Ein file,
The man himself, yeah.
has been turning Pokemon into Shadow Pokemon. Did you also notice that there's like a weird obsession with Pseudo-Wudo?
I did.
In these games, there's like lots of Pseudo-Wudo statues around, and like
Team
one of
Cipher
the-
has a Pseudo-Wudo, like, fetish.
Yeah. One of the like puzzles in the Shadow Lab is you have to like take Pseudo-Wudo's DNA to open up a door at one point. It's like, why are these people so fucking obsessed with Pseudo-Wudo?
Yeah, of all Pokemon. Yeah, the main puzzle in the Shadow Lab is that you need to find 3 DNA samples that are, I think, randomly spread throughout it.
Yeah.
And those DNA samples you eventually analyze at like some room in the lab. And then that's like a key code to get into the section that Ein is in.
But before we get there, we start our journey in the underground. We come up above ground after defeating Venus and driving her away and saving Net. Or, no, it's not Net. It's The boy.
Silva?
What?
Who are we saving?
The boy who was trapped. The boy who was trapped.
Silva?
Silva, yes.
He's not I think he's a man or at least an adolescent, but
no, I think he's one of the boys.
He's because he's Duking's associate, but he's
Duking's associate, yeah.
He's like the fucking interlocutor between them and the kids grid. That's right.
The kid grid, yeah.
Yeah.
God, I love the kids grid.
Kid grid stays very involved throughout this whole section.
Yeah. You do a lot of little fetch quests for them.
And prominently in the post game as well.
Yeah. So yeah, we find ourselves in Pyrite Town. There's not a lot to do here. You've obviously got the main gate code now, so you're headed to the Shadow Pokémon Lab.
You can just go directly from Pyrite to the Shadow Pokémon Lab, but I had a feeling that my Mon were underleveled, so I actually ran the gamut in Pyrite Town.
The Pyrite Town building.
I did Battle Square, Pyrite Building, and then the cave with where Mirror B formerly lodged.
Okay. And he's no longer there?
No.
He took off.
Did you do this? Do you know who's there?
I didn't go deep into the caves, no.
I went all the way through it, and I encountered Miracle B.
Who's Miracle B?
He's like a Mirror B impersonator.
Does he look like Mirror B?
He wants to, but all of his dialogue is mostly stressed out about the fact that he is unable to grow and maintain a beautiful afro like Mirror B.
Okay. I'm looking at his sprite now. It looks like they took one of the like random Cipher peon heads with like the helmet and the visor.
Yeah.
And they put it on Mirror B's body.
Yeah. I think that's about right.
Yeah.
It's like just like a yellow suit peon.
Yeah.
And he's very upset. He wants to be the next Mirror B, but he can't grow the afro. And he thinks that that's the key to his success, but
it looks like he's trying. He's got a little red sort of poof and a little white poof.
You know what else is interesting?
He's got a pseudo-wudo.
Yes, he does. The pseudo-wudo thing.
Maybe this guy's the mastermind, Miracle B.
I can't remember if he's in Gale of Darkness. I think Mirror B is, so I would be surprised if Miracle B is.
Is Gale of Darkness just a sequel to Colosseum?
Yeah, that's why we're doing both.
Right.
Because it's in Ore also, and almost all of these locations are in it as well.
Right.
As well as new ones.
So you did some grinding.
I leveled up, I think, 2 or 3 times throughout that circuit.
I did a lot of grinding too, but I went into the caves a little, but I never went deep because anytime you leave the Pyrite building and come back in, everyone resets. So there's almost no need to go into the cave. You can just do the building over and over again.
I think that's probably the most efficient way of doing it. I just made it far enough that I was like, oh, I don't want to go all the way back to the top, and now I remember that there's like a healing machine way down in the basement.
Right.
Because Mirror B treats his people well.
Yeah. So anyway, we beat Pyrite Town, we level up a little, and then we head to the Shadow Pokémon Lab. Joshua, I want to draw your attention to something.
Okay.
It's a Pokemon.
I'm familiar with Pokemon.
Who you and I have had dealings with for some time, because he's a Gen 1 Pokemon, and his name is Magneton. And there's a lot of scientists in the Shadow Pokémon Lab who like to use Magnetons. Mm-hmm. And did you notice anything about their Magnetons?
I did. I don't want to steal your thunder. I think you're going somewhere with this, so I'll let you say it.
The Magnetons are just Magnemites.
Yeah.
This game makes it so clear. The Magneton does...
They're like buddies.
They are never attached. They're just sort of like floating around one another. It's just so obviously, so clearly 3 Magnemites, which is like, that's what it's always been, but at least like in the static sprites, like there's this chance.
The angles make it unclear. Like, especially in like Gen 2, they're sort of angled so that they make up, I don't know, a soft cornered like triangle. What the hell is that? Who knows? But it looks like a honeycomb almost. And
they're all stuck together.
It looks like, yeah, they're stuck together.
But they're not stuck together. This game makes it clear that as they're floating around in front of you in the enemy team, like, it's just 3 Magnemites. And like when they dive, the 3 Magnemites like fall apart and just turn into Magnemites again.
They're just friends.
The myth of the Magneton is just completely dissolved, and I don't even get me started on Magnezone.
I don't really understand how Magnezone happens. Like, does it get heated up?
I don't really even know what Magnezone is.
Well, you know what it...
He's kind of like he looks a little like Metagross, right?
It's 3, but it's like a big one. in the middle, and they're definitely merged together in Magnezone.
Right.
And who does that?
Ugh, it's ugly.
Can they, like, how are they melting all that metal?
Did someone make these? They're robots.
Magnezone, when it's introduced in next gen, actually, in Gen 4, it only evolves when it's in this, like, magnetic field that one of the areas has. It reacts to, like, this thunderstorm, this, like, lightning field situation, basically.
Okay, I have something controversial to say.
Oh, no.
I'm looking at pictures of Magnezone.
Anytime you're looking at pictures.
I think Magnezone looks kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that I've previously said I don't like it, but I think I'm coming around on it as well.
I think it's
like
Magnemite
a UFO.
And Magneton suck, but Magnezone kind of redeems it. It looks kind of cool.
The little antenna on its head is funny.
Yeah.
I don't know why it needs that.
Cool. I like it. Okay.
I think I might like it. We're going to see it in the wild in Sinnoh.
I'm looking forward to that very much, if we ever get there.
It's the redemption narrative for Magnezone.
The Shadow Pokémon Lab sucks.
Yeah.
It's long. It's difficult to heal. You have to, like...
There's no healing in it.
There's no healing. You have to, like, wind your way back up and go, like, drive somewhere else.
You literally have to leave the entire area. You have to go to another town.
Yeah.
It bankrupted me also. Like, I was poor for basically the rest of the game as a result of, like, not being bothered to just go to Pyrite or whatever and heal. And I just stocked up on a bunch of fucking hyper potions.
Yeah.
They don't pay you very much.
The scientists?
Compared to the main games. Like any of the trainers.
It's kind of a poor region.
Yeah, that's why it's taken over by all this criminal syndicate. And we thought that they treated their people well, but they don't treat these scientists well.
Well, the lab is pretty impressive.
It is nice.
They just don't pay much of a, like, stipend, you know?
No. And then it also, like, the shadow Pokemon in here fucking suck.
Terrible.
It's like Apom, Grand Bull.
I didn't catch a
Fortress?
single one of them. I just let them all go. I was like, not interested.
I did too. I mean, in the last episode, I forget who it was, but I missed one of them, and then I was like, okay, well, I don't give a shit anymore.
Apom? Ugh.
Why would I ever want Apom infecting the rest of my Pokemon?
Ugh.
With its disgusting little
like,
arm tail.
Fortress sucks. It's a sucky Pokemon. I don't like it, but it's pretty tough.
Oh, if you don't have a fire Pokemon, you're like screwed.
They got a lot of fucking like defense and HP, and they're pretty hard to whittle down sometimes.
Yeah,
but I still managed to get them with Entei.
Oh yeah, you're fine there. I mean, I had
Yeah.
Typhlosion, so it was also fine. But if you don't, I mean, you have to swap out to get a fire Pokemon in there to deal with these things.
So you make your way through the lab. It turns out that Ein has been sort of clearing the lab out of shadow Pokemon and moving them elsewhere, and it remains to be seen where that elsewhere is. But there's not a lot of stuff going on here, just some straggler scientists. But eventually you kind of like... You do the puzzle with the DNA, and you find your way through the secret door, and you face off against Ein himself.
Yeah.
And he's easy.
Yeah, he was easy. I do think he had like a good strategy. This is Shadow Pokémon Lab finally had like good battle strategies where they were taking advantage of the fact that every battle in this game is a double battle. Mm-hmm. Like you had scientists who had dual wielding electrodes, and like they would both use Screech on your Pokemon and then self-destruct.
Yeah.
So you have lower defense and then they blow up.
That sucks. Yeah.
And Ein himself, I believe he had a lantern that would use Rain Dance, and then he'd bring out the Raikou.
Yeah.
And then it has 100% accuracy Thunders, which is pretty devastating.
You better believe I caught that son of a gun.
I did catch that, yeah.
Raikou. Can I say something controversial?
Yeah, that's the theme. You're like coming out swinging your back on the mic. All controversy.
Ein's Golbat.
Joe Rogan over here.
Do you think so? Would Spotify give me a deal?
I think so. How about...
and I could just constantly fight with the execs at Spotify about how you won't let me have like Saddam Hussein on the show or whatever.
And like make Fur Affinity Check a 10-minute long segment in every episode.
It's a spin-off podcast. Or
Listen,
we just talk about Fur Affinity.
If that's what we have to do to get picked up, let's do it.
We're pivoting. This is a Fur Affinity podcast now. Speaking of sexy Pokemon, Ein's Golbat gosh darn, awfully cute.
You were into Golbat.
The Pokemon Colosseum Golbat model is so dang cute. He's always got his little wing over his mouth, like a Dracula.
It is pretty good. He
and every now and then he'll pull it away and be like, nah.
He like wraps himself up in his wings, and then he's always like
dancing,
moving back and forth. Like
he's cute. He reminds me of the bats in like the Dragon Quest games, where they're cuter. They're more cute than menacing, you know? And that's how Golbat felt. I liked him.
I do think that Pokemon Colosseum, the GameCube technology, was kind to Golbat.
It's kind to a lot of Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's very mean to some other ones, though, which we'll get into a little bit later.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else you want to say about Ein or the Shadow Pokemon Lab? You beat him. He gives you, data card.
Yeah, he leaves a data ROM disk on his desk. There's also TM26 for Earthquake in here, which is pretty crucial.
Chef gifts.
Yeah, that made my game.
There was a couple of TMs that we pick up this week and last that are so useful for these team battles, and Earthquake is one of them because you can do damage to everyone.
Yeah.
And if you have like a flying Pokemon in, like Mantine, who I do have, Mantine is unaffected by Earthquake, so
you pair him up,
wail on the other team. The other good one is Toxic, which I taught to a Pokemon.
I did too, yeah.
And then like the first few turns, you just use that Toxic to poison the other person's team, and then they just fucking get whittled down. It's so useful. Yeah. Toxic is a move I love, but it's especially useful in this game with double Pokemon battles.
I'll get into it later. I mean, the top line is I am disappointed with the fact that so many TMs that you can get in this game are not accessible until either directly before or right after the main final battles.
Yeah.
Like you can get Ice Beam and like Flamethrower and all the shit that you would really need, but you have to grind it out in Mount Battle for hours.
Right.
But the TMs that they leave in the overworld that you can casually find are very specifically and smartly like set up to benefit double battles, because it's like Toxic, Earthquake. There's like Attract, Torment, Taunt,
Steel Wing.
Yeah, and most of them are all like, oh, you're disabling or like disarming somehow one of the other Pokemon, and then some of them are also like this double hit.
I'll also say this, at some point during the final Realgam Tower battle, someone laid a spikes on me. Ooh, golly, that sucks.
Oh, the Skarmory in there.
Yeah.
Probably.
It sucked.
Taste your own medicine.
Both Pokemon on your team get spiked. And then, like, instantly, the Pokemon coming in loses, like, a fifth of their health. God, it sucked.
As soon as you find the data ROM disk, you get an email from Net. And he tells you if you find any data in that lab to come bring it to him in the Under. And he'll analyze it.
Yeah.
So that's what you do.
So you do. You just go back to the Under just to do that. And you give him the disc. And that's that. He doesn't do anything with it right away.
Yeah, he'll, at some point in this next part, he'll email you again. And he's like, oh, it's a list of all the Shadow Pokemon. And he's like,
but it's not even
the
complete list. He's like, here's some of them. And it's like, great. What am I supposed to do with this?
He's working on like an iMac or some shit. Like, takes a while.
I guess that's true.
All of it.
Yeah.
2004.
So all of this has been while all of this has been happening, it turns out that the construction site that we visited once upon a time to get a big gear,
get that windmill working again,
is done. The construction site has been transformed into the Realgam Tower, or Realgam, or I don't know how you want
Realgam. I mean, Realgam sounds like the best option.
Yeah, it sounds.
But as bug catchers, as you know, we just go with what sounds right. Realgam sounds right.
There's a thing that happens in fantasy video games a lot, like fantasy RPG games, where there's an item called a reagent.
Okay.
It's Reagent, and you read that and you think, oh, regent.
Yeah.
But it's not regent. It's reagent.
Reagent. Realgam.
Realgam. You want to read that and you would think Realgam.
Yeah.
But it's not Realgam. It's got to be Realgam, right?
Yeah, and also Realgam sounds stupid.
It sounds like real gams.
Like this is an elegant,
sexy legs
piece of architecture, you know? Realgam.
It is not elegant in any way. No, it's
gaudy,
tiny little bubble rooms separated by like miles of moving escalators, and there's nothing in them. Imagine if you're Imagine if you're Dakeem and you have to go to the bathroom and it's like, okay, I have to take 20 minutes worth of like moving sidewalk rides to get to like the nearest bathroom.
Yeah.
It's really poorly designed.
Yeah, it is. It was built as though it's a moon base where like it's just geodesic domes and each of them has a tunnel with like a mine cart in it. Yep. And they'll have like a couple of people in them and like a gaudy chandelier.
Yeah.
And then like
and pseudo-Wudo statues.
Fucking golden pseudo-Wudo statues.
It's weird. It's sort of maze-like. You enter and you kind of immediately kind of get on one of these moving walkways and find your way to a lot of the old bosses.
Yeah, they're all back.
And it turns out that this whole thing is run and operated by Team Cipher.
Yeah. You hear about it like in the scuttlebutt, like back in Pyrite, where people are like, "Oh, this like cool new Colosseum opened up," and then you find out it's like another trap.
But it's kind of cool. I don't know. It's one of those weird situations where it's like as soon as I started fighting like Mirror B and Dakeem and people like that, I was like, I'm surely not at the point where I'm facing these people again. I must have missed a big chunk of story somewhere.
Yeah,
like I think I'm so well trained on games like Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy where it's like there's supposed to be endless grinding happening before this, where it's like I missed some big chunk of the game, but no, the game's pretty brief. Like you're already sort of here. You're at the end of the game and you're defeating all your former rivals and bosses again.
Overall, I do love this game, but one of my complaints that I've had forgotten about is that exactly like it kind of time warps you ahead where they definitely needed to have something in between the Under and going to Realgam, because eventually it catches up with you. Like I was okay for most of this, but eventually in the Colosseum part of this section, everybody is 10 to 15 levels higher than your Pokemon.
Yeah,
like
it sucks.
That should not be happening. Like they should make it clear that you should go to Mount Battle or go back and like refight a bunch of people, or make a new level just has a bunch of fucking people in it.
I went to Mount Battle and did Mount Battle, and Mount Battle was boring because everyone was too low level. Like everyone was like level 15 at Mount Battle when I went back, and I was like, I'm not doing this. Like this is so boring.
Yeah.
Like
I did it. You have to grind. I mean, it sucks for like the first 3 areas. Like this is what I'm saying. Like it should encourage you to go there more staggered throughout the game, because you can as soon as you go to it the first time.
Right.
Like they don't start reaching level 40 until the 4th area of it.
Like the 4th like chunk, like the 4th 10.
So I had to grind through
chunk.
Fucking like level 15s, level 20s, level like 30s.
I just didn't have the patience for it. Like there's other places you can grind, like
I just didn't want to do that Pyrite circuit again.
The Pyrite building is like the best place because everyone is your level,
Yeah.
Everyone's like in the 30s and 40s there. So I don't know. I didn't have the patience for Battle Tower, but also like there are big story points that haven't been resolved yet, like what's going on with the relic and the Celebi. It's like shouldn't we get to the bottom of that? Like you keep talking about the Celebi and the time flutes and the relic, and it's like we haven't finished that yet.
Right.
We saw Celebi and we played the time flute, but it's like, what does that mean? Why is there time flute? What's Celebi doing here?
And nobody cares. Like, no one's trying to figure that out.
Like, that's another 5 hours of content we could have jammed in here and, like, do some leveling, Like, I don't know. Why? I don't get how we skipped to Realgam Tower in the end of the game so quickly. And so under-leveled.
Right.
When I went into Realgam Tower the first time, I was like, oh, shit, I am not equipped for this,
Yeah,
and I had
it's
to
like
go,
a shit show.
Grind. I still like this game a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of fun.
To their credit, like they at least change out what Pokemon these trainers have.
Yeah.
Other than Mirror B's obsession with Ludicolo.
Yeah.
So it makes it interesting. You see a lot of different models.
He has fewer Ludicolos.
He does.
He only has 2 now.
And that was actually a problem for me.
I'm surprised the Ludicolo has become such a presence in our lives.
I feel like it was me unleashing the Kraken by having one on my team. It's
That's
like,
just so
when
surprising
your friend or you buy a new car and that car is top of mind, like, oh, you never be thinking about like a Dodge Stratus or something. And then your friend gets it. And you're like, wait, these are everywhere.
That's what I noticed. Do you notice that there's like a certain kind of Subaru Outback? It's like an orange Subaru Outback from like 2019.
Yeah.
And now they're just sort of
Crosstrek
everywhere. Yeah, the Crosstrek.
Because I thought about buying one of those, actually, because I saw them all over my fucking street. I'm like, this Crosstrek, it looks like a nice little half hatchback, half wagon, and it's sporty, and it looks cool.
Yeah.
And then I looked it up, and now I still can't stop seeing them. They're over
everywhere.
Brooklyn in particular.
You should move to fucking suburban Connecticut, man. Everyone and their mama is driving one of these
farther
things.
you go into New England, the more Subarus there are.
The real thing that's happening up here in suburban Connecticut is everyone drives a fucking Tesla. And I feel like I'm in the Jetsons.
Oh, wow.
There's just Teslas everywhere, and they don't have grills. They just have the dumb little like plastic fronts. And it's like, they're just everywhere. It makes me feel like a dumb, poor person driving around in my Volkswagen Jetta.
That's still pretty good.
It's fine. It's just not a Tesla, you know? Like,
yeah.
Can't compare to these dickheads driving around West Hartford, Connecticut.
Muscovites. These dirty Muscovites.
I can't remember where we're at. Okay, so we're in
we just
Realgam
entered
Tower.
Realgam Tower. So
yeah, we're here in Realgam Tower, and we're facing off against a lot of our former enemies. And Josh, I want to hear about how your battle with Mirror B went.
I would love to talk about
after
it
this
because
break.
It was okay. I forgot about this shit.
Joshua, welcome back to Experience Share Pokemon Podcast. Welcome back, bug catchers.
Welcome.
We are in Realgam Tower, the end game for Pokemon Colosseum.
Yes.
And we are facing a lot of our demons. Did you ever play Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater?
No.
You never played it? You don't like Metal Gear Solid games.
It's not necessarily I don't like them. I never grew up with a PlayStation, and I never really... Most of my friends had Nintendo gear, so I just wasn't really exposed to it. And like Bobby plays them, and I observe whatever the last one was.
5.
Yeah, and it's cool to look at, but it's like it's too late for me to learn being interested, basically.
There is
but no shade. No shade to Snake.
I love them.
I like him in Super Smash Brothers.
I've played every single one. They're very fun. Jamie will watch. Jamie hates them, my wife, because they're like completely bonkers stories, and they're not fun to watch. And like oftentimes it's me just like
the story seems insane,
sneaking around a tiny village, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, this is not fun to watch. But anyway, in Snake Eater, there's a big boss called the Sorrow. And his whole thing is that he's like a ghost whisperer, and he can like raise the spirits of people that you've killed. And there's a whole section of the game where you're kind of like waist deep in a river, like making your way down a river, and every enemy that you've killed in the game so far will come out to confront you.
Yeah.
And it's like a trick that this bad guy, the Sorrow, is doing.
Yeah.
And if you don't kill anyone, it's a cakewalk, you know? But if you do kill a lot of people, then like you're like, you've got all these like ghosts in your face, like fucking with you, you know?
That's cool.
That's essentially what Realgam Tower is for us. We're going through all the enemies that we've vanquished previously.
Yeah.
Starting with that old rascal, Mirror B.
Yeah, you got to go up against all 4 of your old nemeses, and Mirror B, I mean, can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
Mirror B caused me some trouble this time.
Pathetic. So pathetic.
I will say he's the only one who I lost to once, but
okay. Well,
that's
not pathetic. I lost to Dakeem a couple times.
Okay. Well, all right. So we'll call it even.
Yeah.
I don't know who's more embarrassing to lose to because they both got some questionable fashion sense.
At least Dakeem is like a later boss.
Well, okay. He's like the second one, and at least Mirror B is a gay icon.
Well, maybe Dakeem's a gay
Dakeem's no fucking icon.
Dakeem's a straight icon.
Don't need any more of those.
He's like
it's full.
He's like Elon Musk and Joe Rogan and
all thrown together. He does kind of look like a chimera kind of a thing of like toxic masculinity, you know?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, okay.
So you do face off against all these bad guys. You had trouble with Mirror B, it sounds like.
Yeah, I opened with Ampharos, who I still have, because I assumed, he's just going to throw a bunch of Ludicolo's at me. And he has adopted a Loudred in the interregnum.
Ooh, and
period.
Wasn't the Loudred kind of a cutie, huh?
It actually did look pretty good.
I just can't believe how much I've come around on some of these fug Pokemon I used to hate. Maybe I'm becoming a real Pokemon fan, Josh.
Each generation where you see like new graphics, you kind of revise who you think is disgusting.
Did I mention this on Babysitter's Club Experience? Did I tell the bug babies what I got Miles for Christmas?
No.
I got Miles for Christmas 2 pieces of propaganda. The first was related to my other podcast, Babysitter's Club. I got him a graphic novel of Babysitter's Club Little Sister #1, Karen's Roller Skates. Mm-hmm. It's for young readers, and he's a pretty young reader.
Yeah.
The other thing I got him was a Meowth plush.
Oh, yeah.
I'm ready for him to be a Pokemaniac,
Meowth head.
Well, particularly a Meowth head, yeah. But, I'm ready to introduce him to Pokemon.
Did I say how I'm indoctrinating my nephews? Bobby's
Yeah, maybe we did talk
sister's
about
kids.
this.
Maybe we talked about
maybe
this.
Maybe it was just
been so
as
long.
friends.
I don't know. It all blends together, but they're 2 and 3 now, and as soon as the first one turned 1, I gave them this giant Pikachu.
Yeah.
Stuffed Pikachu. Like, you just got to start laying the foundation.
We're still holding a spot for Detective Pikachu because Uncle Josh claimed it.
Yeah, you just tell me.
Miles is not allowed to watch Detective Pikachu, the film, unless it's with you. So as soon as this pandemic's over.
As soon as it's, appropriate.
So Mirror B's got a Loudred now.
Yeah, so this Loudred has Earthquake, which I wasn't expecting either.
God, the earthquakes.
The earthquake abuse was fucking rampant in this Realgam Tower. And, kudos to the structural engineer on this thing, because it did not come toppling down when basically everyone is throwing a fucking earthquake every turn. Pokemon.
Every single one of Dakim's Pokemon had Earthquake and used it liberally.
Oh, yeah.
It sucked.
I only got out of that one by the skin of my Flygon, which I had then, and I
only got out of that one by the skin of my Manteenth.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Who also flies for some reason.
Yeah.
And has flying moves, like Wing Attack.
Well,
but can't learn Steel Wing. I tried to teach it. I was like, oh, Manteen's
that thing should be able to learn Steel Wing.
Yeah, it's a fucking manta ray.
Gyarados, I get it. It's got little fucking tiny little fins. But a Mantine, those are giant flapping.
Mantine learns Wing Attack, which makes sense because it's got big wings. But it can't learn Steel Wing? It's like, what the fuck?
Very confusing.
Anyway.
Mantine was wrong.
So Mirror B gave you trouble at those dang Ludicolo's, huh?
Yeah, him taking out the Ampharos in one hit was pretty devastating. And it's just snowballed from there.
Pathetic.
One of his Ludicolo's has an Ice Beam.
Just 2. I think he had 3 previously.
And its Ice Beam one-hitted my Flygon as well. That was the other problem.
So the first time you face Mirror B, he's got 4 Ludicolo's and a Sudowoodo. And the Sudowoodo is a shadow Pokemon who you catch.
That's right.
So he loses 2, and this is tragic, Josh. Mirror B, sometime between when we encounter him in Pyrite Cave and when we encounter him in Realgam Tower, is down to 2 Ludicolo's. He's lost 2 Ludicolo's.
That's so sad.
And he's instead picked up a Loudred and a Golduck. And then the Sudowoodo that you stole from him, he's replaced with an Armaldo.
Yeah, and I should really be building up a fellow gay man, but
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I made a mistake. But
yeah,
he took me out. He got his vengeance.
The Ludicolo's with their fucking Rain Dance and their fucking Giga Drains, so annoying. It's like it's a page right out of the Josh Fjellstead playbook.
Yeah, and they got
like
rain dishes
sucking up their
leech seed,
yummy HP.
They're doing all the shit.
God, it's so annoying.
Yeah, that battle took forever. That was honestly the hardest one for me.
Oh yeah, one of them has Rain Dish. One of them has Rain Dish too.
Yeah,
that's the annoying part. Rain Dance and Rain Dish and Giga Drain.
It has Dive as its other move,
which is also annoying because he disappears. It's the same as Fly. He disappears for a turn.
That's actually a better moveset than the Ludicolo that I ran. I like dive instead of surf. That's smart.
Well, you can have surf too. You could have Giga Drain, dive, rain dance, and surf with rain dish as your ability.
No, but I want Leech Seed.
But you got Giga Drain. What's the point of Leech Seed and Giga Drain?
Because Leech Seed is absorbing health even if
Every
you're
turn.
underwater.
Right. Yeah.
So you set up all that shit and then you just die.
Maybe you don't need Giga Drain then.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That's good. If I run a Ludicolo again, I might rip that.
You know what
set.
you want to maybe do? Here's an interesting idea for this Ludicolo.
Yeah.
Ability, Rain Dish. Moveset, Dive, Leech Seed, Rain Dance, and Whirlpool.
Yeah.
So you drop the Leech Seed on them.
And then they can't escape.
You drop the Rain Dance, and then you dive. And while they're caught in the Whirlpool, you're out of reach, and you're just constantly sucking their HP.
Yeah, I still think that Whirlpool's damage is just too low.
But they're stuck, right? Aren't they stuck? Can't they not move?
I think they can move. They just can't. They can't retreat though.
Well, maybe that's interesting. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
I think it's pretty interesting.
So Mirror B, we beat him. I beat him. You struggle.
Yeah, I beat him after that. I mean, you can just run up against them infinity times, and you don't lose money if you lose.
Yeah. You just white out and you wake up somewhere.
There's a central dome that has a save center and a healing desk or whatever. So you just wake up there.
Next up, the next one you encounter is Dakeem, the second boss that we faced at Battle Tower originally. He's back.
Yeah. Mount Battle.
He's got sort of a whole interesting new team. I don't think he has a single Pokemon that carried over.
I don't think so either. It's like Wish Cash, and let me say, that Wish Cash was pretty festive.
Wish Cash is nice. Houndoom, it's such a shame because Houndour is such a cutie, and Houndoom is such a non-cutie.
Like a hellhound. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I like it.
I'm also finally willing to say that the Pokemon Colosseum 3D graphics
Say it.
opened up my eyes to something, which is that Flygon is kind of cool looking.
Yes, very cool.
Vibrava still sucks.
Well, Vibrava sucks stats and looks wise.
But Flygon's kind of cool. It's like it's clear that its eyes are like goggles.
Yeah.
And there's like little eyes underneath the goggles. I don't know. It's kind of cool looking. I didn't hate it.
It moves very elegantly.
Yeah. But then he's also got a Claydol and a Fortress, which are fucking heinous.
Tanks the whole fucking team.
And let's count how many of his Pokemon have Earthquake. 1, 2, 3, 4 of his 5 Pokemon have Earthquake.
God. Yeah, that was a nightmare.
Sucked.
Yeah, this is where I had to just have Flygon out with Jumpluff because Flygon had Earthquake and then Jumpluff is part flying.
Yeah.
So I was Earthquaking them when they would try Earthquaking me, and then meanwhile Jumpluff was doing a lot of damage to Wish Cash, Claydol because of weaknesses. But it was still rough.
Yeah.
How'd you do with Dakeem?
It sucked. I didn't beat him the first time. He beat me a couple times because of his dang Earthquakes. I only have one Pokemon who's not susceptible to Earthquakes, and like everyone else is either like weak to them or like super weak against them, you know?
Yeah. It's
surprising how many Pokemon are super weak against Earthquakes.
Yeah.
And then like the sucky part is like a few of his Pokemon like Claydol and Flygon are impervious to Earthquake.
Right.
And then like Fortress has, what's his ability? Sturdy?
Yeah.
It's like he can hold up against it, you know? Like it's not going to kill him in one hit, you know?
Right.
It sucked. He beat me a couple times, but I eventually bested him and had to waste a lot of money on fucking potions and shit.
He's got that brutal fucking... 3 of them have Sunny Day and Solar Beam as well. So, like, they're just constantly setting each other up. I guess this is kind of what I was saying with the Shadow Pokémon Lab, too. So, you get one of them and it gets out a Sunny Day and then it gets killed, but then the other one comes out and it just pops off a fucking Solar Beam.
Yeah.
Impressive. I mean, he did go down.
He did go down eventually. So then we're onward through these little bubble cities in the Realgam Tower to Lady Venus, who I feel like we just interacted with.
Yeah, you have to fight 2 little peons to get to her.
These little peons,
they're like guarding the door to get to her.
Yeah, they're like they're
one
like
to her and then one to Ein.
Yeah. And they're the ones who are like they're in their like cat suits. They're like skin tight bodysuits, and they've got their little helmets on with the little visors. And there's one of them called Cipher Peon Bela, who attacks you.
Yeah.
Did you interact with her at all?
Yeah, Bela, I fought her.
Oh, she has got one of the ugliest teams I've ever seen in my life. She's got Gloom, which I hate, obviously.
God, the Gloom. We've covered that. So disgusting in this.
She's got Jumpluff. Jumpluff is not bad.
Well, that's fine. I still got one.
Little cutie.
It's too enthusiastic, but it's sweet.
But then she's got this Pokemon that the game insisted I try to catch because it was a Shadow Pokemon. They're like, oh, you're going to be excited about this one, Tanner. Here's a Shadow Pokemon for you to catch. It's called Sunflora, and it's absolutely heinous.
Ugh.
We put zero effort into this model. We put zero effort into the animations. It sucks to look at. It's the way it moves sucks. It's always just like undulating constantly like this.
It can't control its body, it looks like.
And its like head is always like stretching too far away from its body. It's like when they first discovered 3D animation in like the late 90s, and like they didn't quite have the like keyframe animations figured out yet, and like every now and then the like head would just get a little too far away, and it's like this thing sucks to look at. It was one of the worst Pokemon models I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's my You Make Me Barf Pokemon of the week.
There it is. It's disgusting. It looks like Sunflower from Plants vs. Zombies also, except like a grotesque deformed one.
God, the way it moved. Like, this is not a handsome Pokemon by any
never
stretch.
liked Sunflora.
No. It's never been a good-looking Pokemon.
It feels like,
honestly,
I don't like that it thinks that it looks good, and Pokemon Company probably thinks it looks good.
It's way too confident. Yeah. Bug catchers, if you have played or do play Sunflora in any Pokemon game, reach out to us.
What's wrong?
Because
what happened to you?
I'm curious to hear from you and what's so interesting about Sunflora to you. And I'm also like, I'm not convinced that anyone ever has.
I don't think it's good.
Legitimately think no one in the history of humanity has ever run a Sunflora.
Why would you?
It's just too bad to look at. It's too bad to play with.
It's a gross sunflower.
God, I just hate it. And it sucks in this game.
Look at this GIF.
Is it from this game?
No, it's from the anime. I'm just showing that it looks bad all the time.
It's not even redeemable in the anime. So who would play it?
I don't think so. Then it looks like its feet are too developed.
Ugh, I hate this thing.
You see that?
Yeah.
It's hopping back and forth on its like feet that have toes. That sucks.
Why does it have toes? Why does everything have toes, Pokemon?
They don't need toes.
They don't need toes. You're just playing into the fetish community with that.
We don't need Sunflora.
Yeah, I hate Sunflora. Like, the second I saw it, I was just like, just absolutely the worst.
I agree.
Anyway, oh gosh, I was trying to find a video of it while we were talking, just to like get my ire up again.
We'll try to
aggravate my humors. If
we can find one, or bug catchers, if you have videos of it, send it to us.
And seriously, DM us or add us on Twitter at EXPSharePod if you have ever run a Sunflora, because I'm convinced. Like there was like a Radiolab story a few years ago about like shows that have 0 viewers, and they're like, every now and then there's like a show they'll run on like a deep channel on cable at 3 a.m. that will literally have 0 viewers. And I think that's the case with Sunflora, where it's like, I think 0 people have ever caught and run a Sunflora.
I think that's true. Yeah.
I think it's purely just filler Pokemon. Lady Venus was fine. I didn't really struggle with her.
Yeah, after you take Bela out, then you just go in and fight Lady Venus. I didn't have a problem with her. She's got a Misdreavus, Bellossom, Raichu, Wigglytuff, Milotic.
Oh, and let's talk about Milotic for a second.
Milotic knows how to handle itself.
Where this game did no favors to Sunflora, Milotic...
They rolled out the red carpet for Milotic.
Milotic can get it.
Oh, yeah.
Milotic is looking good in this game.
It's got that sexy little fan on its tail, and like
it's sort of like Slithering.
When it gets knocked back, it will like put its tail up in front of its face like a fan.
Ooh, so bashful.
It's like very alluring, this Milotic.
Milotic's looking good in this game, and I was a fan of looking at it.
Yeah, the Wigglytuff is fun too, actually. I'll say that.
The Wigglytuff's eyes bother me a little bit.
It hops around like a rabbit.
It's suffering from the same eye issue as Jigglypuff or Gigglypuff.
Yeah.
But I also say that her Raichu looks pretty good too. Raichu is looking fly in full 3D rendered.
Oh, Raichu always looks good.
Yeah. I beat her easily.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
She gives you the blue ID and then you got nothing left but the best.
Well, the last one is Ain.
Yeah.
Who we literally just faced off against.
Yeah. Like, how did he even have time to get all these new Pokemon?
Yeah, I got here quicker than you did almost.
And they're not Shadow Pokemon, so he didn't like manufacture them. He trained new Pokemon.
Right.
Ein had a good strategy where his Rhydon and his Manectric both have Lightning Rod as their ability.
Oh, yeah.
Which will suck electric moves into it, and then it doesn't affect either of them.
Right.
And then he's got a Pelipper and a Starmie and a Crobat, where obviously electric would be super effective on all of them. So he was actually pretty tough to deal with.
Yeah.
I didn't lose, but I had to do some clever maneuvering because I went into it with Ampharos is usually one of my starters.
Yeah.
And he was nullified and he got like killed by Rhydon's fucking like dig or something.
And what a shame about Crobat, huh?
Oh man.
What a cutie Golbat was, and what a fucking ugly fug Crobat continues to be.
This one's a flip. I think Crobat usually looks better than Golbat, but Crobat in
this game he looks
3D
like a
is
looks like a
wow.
80s nerd. He's just like,
God, yeah.
I'm a
Like
nerd.
someone Dennis the Menace would take up back and just
Yeah.
go to town on.
Plus, Crobat and Pelipper both have Fly, and Fly is just so aggravatingly annoying in this game.
Yeah, to see the fucking animation where they fly up and then they just sit there with their normal like sitting posture and
just
every
standing
move
in air.
misses. I hate it so much.
Yeah. So Ein was annoying, but I like weirdly didn't have any real issues with him. Like somehow Dakeem was the hardest one of all these 4 bosses that we faced off against.
Mirror B for me. That's even weirder.
And Mirror B for you. Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, so you beat these 4 idiots, and then you get do you get an alert?
After Ein, you get an email from Egan, 7/Bad Josh's grandfather, and it's like, "Dear Bad Josh, this is Egan of Agate Village. I just wanted to let you know that this is my first electronic mail. I am not familiar with high-tech things, so I have only learned to type in words. Incidentally, if you were ever in..." And then it stops.
He's died.
So it's either like, ominously, he got killed, or, as it turns out...
He's died.
I mean, I went immediately back to Agate Village.
Yeah, I didn't go.
You just didn't go. So did you ever go?
No.
Okay. It's pretty... It was very useful for me later, which we'll get into, but you go back to Agate Village to see what's up, and it just turns out Egan is a idiot old man.
Sorry, I should say I did go later
Okay.
to unlock Pokemon Hearts, but I did not talk to Egan.
Yeah, he just doesn't know how to email.
Yeah.
And he sent it before he finished the message. He mysteriously has a Master Ball, and he gives you a Master Ball.
How do you get that?
To no fanfare.
I thought Pokemon balls were illegal in Ore.
And that he has this
He has the
very
ultimate.
fancy one that has been previously within the hands of criminal syndicates such as Team Rocket.
Right.
Is very interesting that he happens to have his hands on it.
Yeah.
And why is he giving it to me and not his granddaughter is also fascinating. But I took it.
She's not really a Pokemon trainer.
No.
She has no business.
But
with it.
he's emailing me and not her is also weird.
You guys have formed a close relationship
I guess.
since you met.
Yeah, he sucks at Pokemon, but...
So you took a brief diversion over into Agate Village, but back at Realgam Tower,
Yeah.
we have faced off against all the mini bosses in the first half of the tower, and now we're in the second half where it's kind of we're up in the tower itself.
Yeah, you get
And it's
taken up an elevator.
this sort of like Lux environment where everything is like pristine and gleaming. The pseudo-Wudo statues are as brilliant as ever.
And as far as the eye can see.
Yeah. And there's also like slot machines and like
a restaurant.
There's a restaurant, yeah, which is dead.
Yeah.
It looks like the scene in The Shining. It's just like this empty room with one person in it.
Yeah, and if you talk to her and you're like, yeah, I'll place an order, she's like, well, kitchen's closed.
Yeah, kitchen's closed.
And I'm about to mop the floor with you. Yeah.
Everyone in this area, all they want to do is Pokemon battle, which is fine.
Yeah, there's like 6 or 7 battles in here.
There's a Poke Center unit up here so you can heal your Pokemon.
Yeah.
But first you have to face off against this guy who's just in the way.
Like lollygagging.
He's like standing in front of it. Yeah.
And then he's like,
hey, excuse me, can I use the machine? He's like, yeah, we battle first. It's like, oh, wow. Okay. It seems like you're taking advantage of me because you know I need to use the machine.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I can't wait I'm so glad all my Pokemon are fully healed and they're ready to go. And then like, he turns around, just takes advantage. I mean, he's still got fucking crushed.
Yeah. But then in the main room, there's an elevator that goes up, and there's a reception desk in front of it. And the elevator attendant, the receptionist, they're all trainers. They'll all fight you.
Yeah, I went up into the middle of it to talk to the receptionist to get a little bit information about what's going on. What can I expect? And she's like, fuck you. Let's battle. Get out.
She's like, who are you here to see? And you're like, oh,
what was that guy earlier?
God, what was his fucking name?
I met this guy back in Phenac.
He's got hair.
It looks like a Medusa kind of thing, but it's blonde. He's like a glam rocker.
He's kind of a glam rock guy. And she's like, oh, I know who you're talking about. Battle me and I'll tell you.
Yeah, and her name turns out to be Hunter Aline, and I crushed her, but I was sad about crushing one of her Pokemon.
Who? Whom?
Laron. Oh. Which is Joshy's sweetie.
Laron was looking so good in this game.
And we've talked about it before in the Fanula episode because it's got a really sweet battle cry too.
His little like... Yeah.
But then you see it in 3D.
He looks like just like a cute little pup.
Yeah, it's like a little puppy dog, but it's like steel rock, like
just like
sweetie.
A hard ass little puppy dog.
Dinosaur dog, little fangs. Cool as hell.
What's not to like?
Nothing, honestly.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
My wife and I are fans of basketball.
Oh, yeah.
And her favorite team, the Toronto Raptors, just got a new guy whose name is Aaron Baines. And he spells his name like Aaron.
Oh, wow. Like the Pokemon?
Aron.
Is he a Pokemon fan?
I don't know.
Do we know?
Maybe his parents are.
Yeah, I guess that would be it.
Right? I made a whole joke about how Aaron was pronounced like Aaron. I was like, isn't it funny if I called this Pokemon by a man's name?
Right.
But here's a man who has a Pokemon's name. How would you pronounce Aron?
Aaron.
Yeah. No, you made fun of me for pronouncing it Aaron when we were playing with them originally.
Aaron or whatever.
Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I guess so it is a real name, so it's just Aaron.
So that's your little sweetie, huh, Laron?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like him too.
It's self-evident. There's nothing else to really say. It's obviously a sweetie.
Yep.
And it's good.
So
good mom.
You're making your way up the tower. There's a lot of little elevators, and all the Team Cipher guys keep sort of evading you.
Yeah, NASCAR taunts you.
NASCAR, yeah. And at one point, you're making your way up an elevator, and a guy steps out of the elevator. And who is it? But that dang Team Snag'em villain, Gonzap. And he confronts you, and he's like, yeah, I'm working with Team Cipher now because you blew up my headquarters.
Oops.
And you have to face off against him, and he's easy.
Yeah, literally nothing.
Easy GG.
Caught his Skarmory also.
Yeah, I caught his Skarmory too. Yeah.
In fact, I'll tell you how I caught it because I didn't give a damn anymore. And I'll remind everyone, I'm Bad Josh.
You're Bad Josh, yep.
I used the infinite ball glitch. Have you heard about this?
No. Are you right now admitting to me that you're the
Mayor Cheat?
No. Buttigieg. Are you admitting to me right now that you're the Secretary of Cheatsportation? Just announced today.
Secretary Transport Secretary Cheat. Yeah, I am. I'm Bad Josh. I don't give a shit.
Wow. Secretary of Cheatsportation over here.
At this point, I was like, I don't care. I just want to see how it works because I had learned about it in the course of doing this. I didn't know about it when I was a kid. But it's super easy, and I didn't use any of the Pokemon I caught as Transport Secretary Cheat.
Just Secretary of Cheatsportation.
Secretary of Cheatsportation.
So, bug catchers, if you're not up on politics, Mayor Cheat, a.k.a. Mayor Pete, a.k.a. Pete Buttigieg, was today, December 15th, as the Secretary of Transportation in President-elect Joe Biden's new cabinet.
Yeah.
So officially, it's no longer Mayor Cheat. It's the Secretary of Cheatsportation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm Secretary of Cheatsportation, which is fine because I'm Bad Josh, baby. I don't give a shit.
Yep.
I did it in order to try it out, and you can just watch a YouTube video.
What is it?
Once the Shadow Pokemon is out on the field, your first Pokemon on your team, you have it use a Master Ball.
I don't have that.
Well, right. So it's irrelevant for you anyway. But it works with any ball.
Okay.
But I did it with Master Ball, so I don't even have to bother battling the thing.
Okay.
You select the Master Ball with the first Pokemon, and then as that's its move, then it goes to the second Pokemon, and then with the second Pokemon, you switch the position of the Master Ball in your inventory using the Y button and move it above or below it, and then go back and use a move with that Pokemon. And then it somehow cheats the game into thinking that you were just using that second ball instead of the Master Ball. So you can just keep capturing fucking everything with a Master Ball.
Wow. That is some deep state Secretary of Cheatsportation stuff.
Yeah.
That you're working
That's
on there.
that under subway kind of transportation.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You did that to catch a Skarmory?
Yeah, I wanted to just try it out as part of the experience because a couple of bug catchers had pointed it out to us.
So you make your way up to Realgam Tower, and finally you're in the end game.
Yes.
Up here. And golly geez, is it brutal. It's the Realgam Colosseum. So it acts like a regular Colosseum. And keep in mind, like, the entire premise of this game is Colosseum, and until now we've only done officially one.
Well, you had to do the Pyrite and then this. That's it. Yeah.
You did Pirate Colosseum, and that was it. Like, you had the option to do a couple others. Like, we could have done...
You can do Phenac, which I did do.
Or the Underground. You could have done the Underground, too.
Because I had to get the Giga Drain TM specifically. The Colosseums have the best TMs.
But you're only required, up until this point, to do one, which is the Pyrite Town Colosseum.
That's right.
So the entire premise of this game, Pokemon Colosseum, is like, it's a lot of Colosseums. It's not. It's one. Until now. And when you're doing the Realgam Colosseum.
Yeah, at the very
which
tippy top of this building.
Sucks. God, it sucks. Like, previous Colosseums that I have dealt with, both in the Underground and in Pyrite City, the game heals you between each battle.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Like,
yeah,
you face off against 4 extremely challenging opponents back to back without healing.
Yeah.
You just have to have the right gear in your items. So I died a lot.
On these first 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is where I did a lot of my grinding at this point, because I faced off against these first 4 dudes in the Realgam Colosseum and kept dying. So this is where I went back to Pyrite Town and started like grinding and churning out levels so I could get good for these dudes.
Yeah.
And also make money. I didn't have any money at this point. And like I was like, I need to buy some revives, you know? So
yeah, the money is really rough in this game.
It's a bad economy.
I guess it is a depressed region, so yeah.
So I had to earn a bunch of money to buy revives and hyper potions. And then I came back and did it again with this team, Joshua.
All right, and it's level check.
Level check.
Feels good to do a level check.
Dragon Ball Z. Oh, keep in mind, my character's name is Mr. Anime, and he is an anime boy, and he only likes anime, and all of his Pokemon are named after animes.
Right.
Dragon Ball Z.
Pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Metacham. Level 50. Metatite and Metacham stuck with me the entire game.
And that's really sweet because it's like a devotion to your wife because she liked Metatite.
honestly, they're
And you didn't originally even like Meditite.
not awful.
Oh, that's good.
Not a bad Pokemon. Like we got some shit done together, you know?
Yeah.
Death Note, Sneasel, level 50.
Previously known as Sneasel.
Yep, now he's called Death Note.
And you kept the Sneasel, too. If your thoughts
Decent.
evolved on Sneasel, yeah.
Decent. Not bad. All the ice moves, Icy Wind and shit like that, not bad. Don't mind it. Don't mind any Pokemon that has like an area of effect move, you know? That's attacking everyone.
Especially in this one where you got the doubles.
Yep. Akira, Mantine, level 51.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Nothing, not remarkable. Just solid three seed. Cowboy Bebop, Entei, level 49.
Okay.
A One Punch Man, Raikou, level 48.
Pathetic.
And Naruto, Meganium, level 50. So I think my team is largely untouched from last week. I just stuck with what I knew.
Couple that didn't break that 50 barrier. It's too bad.
Yeah, I kind of, and we'll get into this.
Although impressive, actually.
We'll get into this when we talk about Clear Eyes, Open Hearts Can't Lose. But I thought there was going to be a strategy with the legendary dogs, and I was getting excited about it, and then abandoned it. So that's why Entei and Raikou are not quite up to snuff. Well, tell me about your team.
All right, so I'm Bad Josh. All my Pokemon are named after things that I, Good Josh / Cool Josh, don't like. Mm-hmm. Manny, Piloswine, level 50.
That's the character from Modern Family?
No, I think he's probably okay. It's Ice Age, the mammoth.
Who's seen Ice Age?
Who hasn't?
Me.
Okay, well, you're going to because you have a young child.
I'm probably going to keep him away from that.
Did Ice Age miss you? I saw the first one in theaters, or am I just like an idiot?
I think it missed me slightly.
I could be.
Here's what I remember about Ice Age. I've never seen it.
I only saw the first
But when
one,
I was
which came out in 2002.
freshman in college, I shared a room with my roommate whose name was Brody.
It's troubling.
And he was a very fun dude, but not my kind of people.
Okay.
You know, he was the kind of dude who would yell out of our dorm room window anytime a girl passed. He would yell out of our dorm room window,
No.
"Ooh, girl!" He would say that every single time a girl passed our window.
And did that ever work out for him?
Surprisingly, yes.
God, really? That's not the answer I was looking for.
He had a lot of sex in our shared room.
Oh,
But
Brody.
what he
Brody.
did every night is he would put on a DVD, and it would be one of 3 DVDs. And I don't remember the other 2, but I remember distinctly he would put on the Ice Age DVD because I would wake up every morning. I would wake up very slowly every morning to the menu sounds, the repeated on a loop menu sounds of the Ice Age DVD of like the sloth and the saber-toothed tiger and the like woolly mammoth like doing little like sounds. On like a 30-second loop endlessly for hours.
Oh, God.
And that's all I know of Ice Age.
Well, I think I just saw it in like when I was a sophomore in high school, and I didn't like the mammoth design, and I really don't like it now.
Yeah.
This clearly vindicates Manny sucks.
And your Piloswine sucks.
Piloswine was not a good investment, but I had to double down because
Kind of how I feel about a couple of my Pokemon. Medicham.
it was down to the wire, and it was level like 46, and I was like, fuck it, no, I'm just gonna keep leveling this fucking thing. Like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
So then we have Greta, been with me the whole time. Espeon, level 51.
And that's Greta Thunberg.
It's Greta,
Swedish
the sexual
climate
gremlin
right activist who you've
Gremlins.
decided that you were against.
Well, I like her, but Bad Josh would not like Greta Thunberg.
Your id.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the opposite of me. So regardless of if it's Greta, the over-sexualized woman gremlin from Gremlins 2, or Greta Thunberg, either way,
Climate right activist.
climate rights activist, either way, Bad Josh doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Or rather, he wouldn't name it Greta Thunberg because he doesn't like her. It's complex. Corncob, Ampharos, level 51.
Okay.
Fly, this one's new. Flygon,
What does
51.
that mean, fly? You don't like flying?
I don't like flies, and then I also thought that Bad Josh would think that the fly on Pence's head was funny.
Oh, and it's ripped from the headlines.
It's like Pence Fly is probably what I should have just named it to be more straightforward.
Right,
but
and ripped from the headlines. And that's still
it's like
so relevant now on December 15th. We're all still talking about Penn's fly.
Yeah. With this episode is the names are a time capsule in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Jalapeno, Typhlosion.
You don't like jalapenos.
51. I like them, but I can't eat them. Fragile Norwegian stomach.
Yep.
Chipper, Jumpluff, 50.
Jumpluff.
That's straightforward. Yep. I don't like super enthusiastic people.
Yeah, that all makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's it. There they are.
Before we go, and before we talk about the end of this game, I want to talk about any new Pokemon we caught and potentially even started to or finished unlocking the hearts of in our segment for this interstitial series, Clear Eyes, Open Hearts Can't Lose. Did you have anyone who you tried to bring onto the team this week?
I caught a Heracross and a Metagross from some of these fuckers, and I thought about both of them at a certain point, and I did start hacking away at opening their hearts. Mm-hmm. And after I made it like 2 battles in and I saw like a millimeter of progress, I was like, no, I can't live like this. I used a Time Flute on Vibrava, which became Flygon.
Yep.
Vibrava's so bad.
Yeah.
That I couldn't sit through it dying.
Yep.
And then I gave up, and I just that's when I doubled down on Piloswine.
Ugh, disgusting.
How about you?
I caught Suicune, and so I noticed that Entei has Sunny Day, which empowers plant moves?
Fire moves.
Okay, fire moves.
But it allows Solar Beam to be used in 1 move rather than 2.
And this is...
And Solar Beam's a grass move.
This is a hit segment called... what's it called?
Oh, what was it called?
Tanner... Matchup Mayhem?
Matchup Mayhem, yeah.
So I saw that Entei had Sunny Day. I saw that Raikou, who's on my team, had Rain Dance. And I was like, why does Raikou have any business like empowering water moves? And I was like, oh, I see what's happening. Suicune must have some kind of move that empowers up Entei or Raikou, right? So
maybe
he's got some kind of status affecting move that must power up Entei and Raikou, and the game wants you to have all 3 in your team synergizing off of one another. So I was like, that's cool. That's awesome. I'm going to unlock Suicune fully.
Oh my God.
And that's what I did. I unlocked Suicune fully. And you know what Suicune has? Rain Dance.
Yeah.
Same as Raikou. And immediately jettisoned. I was like, no, I don't need a Suicune. I have Mantine. And I thought there was going to be some cool, like, fun, like, set the weather and let the other legendary dogs have fun. And that's not the case.
No.
And it's a little bit matchup mayhem.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit this game fucking with me. Because, like, what business does Raikou have with Rain Dance?
I mentioned that earlier with Ein. Normally, Thunder has like a 70% chance of hitting. If you use Rain Dance before, it has a 100% chance of hitting. So it becomes very, very good.
Well, I didn't know that.
And Raikou has Thunder. So you'd use Rain Dance. And then Thunder. Or you would have the Suicune out there, and it uses Rain Dance, and then Raikou uses Thunder. Because it's double team, man.
Well, that's not what we did. I unlocked Suicune fully,
okay,
but then didn't put it on the team because I wasn't interested in having another Pokemon with Rain Dance. I also really like the Heracross and unlocked it fully and thought about swapping out Heracross for Medicham. But Medicham and I have been through so much together, so I decided to abandon Heracross and stick with Medicham for the end game.
Medicham, I think, would have been more useful in this final battle anyway because it's got the Psychic plus fighting.
Yep.
Heracross, I was like, I don't think this is going to be worth it, even though I love it.
Let's get through this final battle quickly.
Yeah.
because we're going long. But yes, you do 4 matches in a row. They suck. You cannot heal between them. You have to have lots of items on you or else you're hosed.
Right.
But, you do it and you get it done. And then you face off against the big baddie.
NASCAR.
Who you think is the head of Cipher, NASCAR.
We'll call him NASCAR.
He's tough.
Yeah.
He's got some baller Pokemon.
Yeah, he's got Gardevoir, Xatu, Metagross, fucking Walrein, Dusclops.
Brutal. Yeah.
Yeah, Walrein, Metagross, and Gardevoir were a fucking nightmare. Xatu did a fair amount as well, because it just confused every single one of my Pokemon.
Yeah, and it's got Psychic. Luckily, you do heal. You come off those 4 battles, and it miraculously heals you between those 4 battles and NASCAR. But you beat NASCAR, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, great.
And you think you're done.
Done.
Hell yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No. False. Wrong.
There was a shadowy head behind all of that.
It turns out that Cipher is not run by NASCAR. Cipher is run by Eviche. Cipher admin Eviche, who is the kindly, rotund mayor of Phenac City.
Escade.
Who we encountered early in the game, being harassed by NASCAR.
Yeah.
Sorry? Did you say Escade?
Escade was his name. Or I guess it's Escade.
Escade, yes.
Yeah, Escade.
He steps into the ring and he looks like the jolly old Escade. But then he kind of shifts. And his disposition turns dark, and he begins floating like Baron Harkonnen.
Yeah.
From Dune. You've ever read Dune?
I actually haven't read it yet, and it's on my list now.
Oh, the book is so good.
But I've watched the movie multiple times.
The first 3 books are so good.
I was going to ask you and Jamie to recommend which version I should get.
They just came out with new versions, which are very handsome.
That's what I want.
New editions.
I want the handsome version.
Get the first 3 books and the new editions. They're great books, and the new editions are so handsome.
Yeah. I've always loved the movie, but I want to read the books now that that new movie is coming out.
Avicii.
Yeah, Avicii. And I want to, before we get into it, this is a trainer danger for Avicii.
Okay. Was it the floating?
This fucking guy, Escade, whatever, who turns into Avicii / he flips around in the air.
I took a pill and Ibiza.
What?
I took a pill and Ibiza.
Ibiza, you mean?
Ibiza. Because Avicii said it's cool.
And
then he died.
God,
of an overdose, I think.
We can't use that name. Avicii. Like ceviche. It's Avicii.
Yeah, it's the word ceviche without the C on the front.
Avicii.
So
Avicii jumps up in the air, twirls around in a grotesque fashion, and then he turns into basically Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, he looks comically villainous.
Like, he's this plump man with crazy hair, a fucking giant handlebar mustache. He jumps around constantly and makes earthquakes, which presumably are caused by him farting. I mean, I look at this man and I don't see someone with great gastrointestinal health.
Very Baron Harkonnen.
Yeah.
Yeah, with his little air suit.
So this is the trainer danger here. This guy.
Yeah, he's gross.
And also, he fucking thrashed me like 8 times.
So tough.
It's a nightmare. I mean, this is what I was saying, where like, they throw you up against this guy where you think you're still like, oh yeah, sub 50, like 55 level 55 or whatever. No. I had been thrashing everybody with like level 47s and shit. And then he comes out with level 60s.
God, he's just brutal. And it comes after you've already battled 5 people in a row. And the first 4 you couldn't heal after, like you've used up all your items,
Yeah, you do get healed before this one at least, but you have no items. But you still
used up all your items.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks. God, it's so tough.
The first time I fought him, he opened with the Salamence and the Caesar.
Yeah.
And this Salamence.
He's got good ass Pokemon,
oh my God.
too.
It's Salamence, Caesar, Slowking, Machamp, Slacking, Tyranitar, which is the shadow
But like
one.
even the scrubs on that team, even Slowking and Slacking are like pretty fucking brutal.
The Earthquake from that Slacking?
Yeah, they're tough.
Oh my god.
He was really difficult to beat, but I did best him finally. And then it's revealed that he is the head of Team Cipher, and he tries to escape on a helicopter that he has programmed to come and pick him up. Yeah. But then for some reason, Ho-Ho,
yeah,
the legendary bird, swoops in and destroys that.
Destroys it with a fireball?
It's so weird. And then everyone in the audience is just like, oh, it's Ho-Ho. So magical. And then they arrest Avicii.
Yeah, Johnson and whatever, the chief show up.
Sure, it's like Sherlock or something like that. It's like Shirley or something.
Get the gang back together for one last caper.
Yeah.
Yeah, they arrest him and
then his
not
credits.
Really acknowledge that this like legendary bird of lore blows up the helicopter.
They spend like 5 minutes. Everyone like is like, oh, it's Ho-Ho. And then like Ho-Ho keeps flying over. It's like, what? Okay. Ho-Ho's here. Yeah. And then credits roll.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the game. And you've beaten it. And there's a robust, like hours long post game where you kind of go back. You immediately, as soon as you're done with the credits, you get an email, and the email says, hey, it's Net. Like, I've figured out the rest of the like list of Shadow Pokemon. Go around and start finding them. The first person you want to start with is Kale in Pyrite Town.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I went and fought Kale, and like, yeah, he's got a Shadow Pokemon you can catch. But it's like, at that point, it's just like, nope, I'm not doing any of this endgame.
Yeah, we're going to the same old places. The new one that you get is the Snag'em hideout. You go back to your old stomping grounds.
Not interested.
But you're still fighting the same people, and we don't need all these Shadow Pokemon. So
on to the next game, Joshua. Pokemon Gale of Darkness XD, which will be starting next week.
And we're doing it in 3 episodes only.
So if you decide to play along for some reason, and keep in mind, we do not encourage you to play along.
But we love it if you do.
If you do, it's fine. We'll be playing through to the Cipher Lab next week. So until then, Joshua, I have been your friend, Titanitar.
We're friends again.
A.K.A. Tanner Greenring.
Yeah.
You have been Pori Josh 2, a.k.a. Joshua Fjellstead. And this has been Experience Share, a Pokemon podcast. Joshua, bug catchers, please do rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. I say that every week, and I have sort of got it down to a ignorable pattern, but please do not ignore it. Please do go and do exactly what we ask you to. It does help us immensely if you go rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts.
Especially now after we're coming out of a hiatus. We need the promo.
Yep. Do also follow the show on everywhere that you follow podcasts on, like Spotify and Stitcher and Overcast and all that kind of stuff.
And then follow us on Instagram and Twitter at EXPSharePod and on Reddit at reddit.com/r/bugcatchers.
Hosted, moderated by our friend and friend of the podcast, Mike Levine.
Mike Levine, a.k.a. Nocturnal, on the subreddit, who is now canon in the podcast, too. We had fun playing a Pokemon Trading Card game online. I've played it a little bit more since. And Tanner, if you want to get back into it.
I'm kind of interested in getting into it again.
I think we're maybe going to get into it.
It seems fun.
It's just hard when we're playing these games all the time.
It kind of takes
occasionally you need a break from Pokemon, just to level
so
with
you
all
play
of you.
Other Pokemon games?
Yeah, it's one where
instead of like, I don't know, maybe the next gen games you've got on your next gen system that you bought.
No, I'm not playing Cyberpunk 2077 until they release it for the PS5 because everybody says it's a fucking nightmare.
It's not. It's fine. It's completely playable and fun.
We'll see.
Fun, even.
Well, I'm going to play it.
Bug catchers, thank you for joining us. My name has been Tanner Greenring. I will catch you all next week for Pokemon Gale of Darkness XD. Joshua, goodbye.
Smell ya.